I want them on my wrist. I'm 19 years old, but I'm 76. Talking about a bird, I'm talking about a key. I'm eating nuts, hot boy, and food leaf. We gon' come down, show me what's fine. Set the trunk up with the chicken by 9. Boys in enlightenment, boys on the fight.
Everybody up and out, get wild up. Put your hands up if you like drinking with blood. Out of Rosewood, so bitch never good. We ride on them, and how did I work it? I don't give a damn with my fifth wheel slam. I'm out high, eating green eggs and ham. I'm out.
What's up, y'all? This Lil WB back at again, another Slab History 101. Today I want to talk about a neighborhood that a lot of y'all done heard of, and the screw tapes, Swisher House tapes. You know, just history of just knowing about the history of the Slab. Talk about a neighborhood called Rosewood. Now, Rosewood is in its own homestead. Like I always say, it's a bunch of neighborhoods on Homestead. Rosewood might be one of the most important neighborhoods on Homestead just based off the history. So I'm gonna kind of just go through a little bit of the history, a couple people that rode, you know, back in the day during them times, just the misconceptions that you might have heard about Rosewood. Now, I'm going to start off by saying a lot of the OGs that's maybe like in their 50s, 60s, just around the city, really, I always tell me that back in the day, on the north side, and specifically on Homestead, a lot of people rode like racing cars, like Chevy Novas, Malibu, Chevelles, Mustangs, you know what I'm saying? Like before the Slab kind of hit. So Rosewood kind of always had like a car culture based around it. You got a bunch of shops over. You got a bunch of paint shops, tire shops, chop shops. You got a bunch of interior shops over there. So pretty much anybody in the city during them times, you know, back in the day, that was into the cars. And at some point in time, you kind of went to the north to get your car work done, to look for parts or look for some shops, you know what I'm saying? So just based off of that, you know what I'm saying? Then you had the Slabs come into play in the early 80s, mid 80s, that when people kind of started to put down those racing cars with the rallies and all that, they started to put that down and kind of go towards the Slab. So we all kind of know now, you know, at this point that back in the day, you couldn't really get those wheels unless you either bought them off a partner that had them and he was going to jail, or, you know, you found an old person that didn't really know what they had and didn't want them, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, you had to kind of carjack them, you know, during this time, like I always say, you know, before the crack era, the game was the auto theft, you know what I'm saying? Auto theft, and you had, like I say, you had a bunch of chop shops. You had the one-stop shop, you know what I'm saying, where you could, you know, a person could bring a bunch of seats, parts for cars, and, you know, basically the dude would kind of like buy them from you, you know what I'm saying? And you might have known it was stolen, might have not, you know what I'm saying? Who knows? But that's kind of the game that Rosewood kind of picked up. I know a lot of people kind of tell me back in the day that, you know, back then, it was almost in Rosewood kind of like, you know, everybody kind of stole at least one car, you know what I'm saying? Just growing up in the hood, you know, and every day, you know, you might go joyride with your friends when you're 12, 13 years old, but then you graduate up, you know what I'm saying? You want things, you want the Slab, you know what I'm saying? Those are the only ways that you can get it. So you had a lot of guys during the 80s, like Spencer, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, basically rode Slab in Rosewood and around Rosewood, that a lot of people would see, you know what I'm saying, that would make them go out and go get the wheels. And that's not to say that everybody from Rosewood stole. That's not what I'm saying, because you had people like Spencer that he didn't steal, you know what I'm saying? He worked hard, hustled for it, you know what I'm saying, to get his Slab. So not everybody stole, you know what I'm saying? I'm just basically breaking it down during this time in this history, you know what I'm saying, where it might have been a couple guys, you know what I'm saying? I already did Alvin and Spencer on the first interview, and then I did Spencer a little bit later. You had Alvin basically kind of breaking it down to you, like, you know, basically this was what was going on. We couldn't get those wheels, and our neighborhood wanted them like that. So their hustle was basically, you know, we're gonna go get the parts that everybody needs. So it was kind of like Rosewood kind of became like a one-stop shop, you know what I'm saying? To well, you had like this is all already documented, you know what I'm saying? I already spoke on the videos and kind of already understood in the, you know, interview, and came out the horse's mouth himself, you know. Yeah, people like Alvin basically kind of saying like, man, we would kind of go take a car, bring it back to the hood, and strip it all the way down, you know what I'm saying, to a process to where it was like, okay, we got the insides, the bumper, the grill, the wheels, tires, the music up out of there, the steering wheel, the carpet, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of got to a point to where like a lot of G's on Homestead, and from what I'm knowing outside of the North really, that would come to Rosewood and, you know, kind of, oh, I need some Ricks, I need some PMDs, I need a fifth wheel, I need one wheel, I need one elbow, I need one Vogue tire, you know what I'm saying? And that was kind of like they hustle to kind of like, you know, make some money. And a lot of people kind of get the misconception that, a lot of the OGs tell me that you get a lot of misconception that, you know, that they was basically robbing, you know, with pistols for your car. That wasn't the name of the game, and any OG from back then will kind of tell you it was more so like a, you know, you get caught slipping. Not no, I'm finna see you at the light, even though that has happened, you know what I'm saying? I've heard stories that did happen where you might be at the light and somebody might pull you out your car, shoot you, and you know what I'm saying, pull you up out of the pistol whip you, stuff like that. But that particularly wasn't Rosewood's game. Theirs was more so, man, we was gonna go to Caro's, Jamaica, Chocolate Town, and, you know, kind of follow you around for a minute, see your route. What route do you take home? Where you stay? Who are you? Who your friends? Do you have multiple slabs at the house? And basically wait for you to kind of just go in the store or something. Go, you at the club, you go in there and get a drink and come outside, your car gone. So it's kind of like a being fast kind of thing. I know Alvin told me that back in the day, one thing that they used to do was go to the junkyard and have a stopwatch and see who could crank up the most cars the fastest, and, you know, things like that, things of that nature, what they would do. So, I mean, like I said, not everybody from Rosewood was carjacking. That's just kind of like, that kind of was that era. If you was in Rosewood during that time and hung around a certain specific crew, I mean, hey, that's kind of like, that's the crew that's gonna steal some wheels, you know what I'm saying? But it got to a point to where, you know, they would take the cars and on a back street in Rosewood somewhere, burn it up, you know what I'm saying? But then it got to the point, I always say in my interviews that, you know, the North Side, Rosewood, wasn't the only neighborhood stealing cars. It was other neighborhoods on the North. It was other neighborhoods in South Park and in Harm Clark, you know what I'm saying? It was other guys that were stealing cars too. I mean, it started, if it started in South Park or in Harm Clark, what everybody will say, I mean, they didn't have those wheels first, you know, they had to get them at some point. They had to get it from somewhere. So the Slab gang kind of always had like a stealing car little aura to it, you know what I'm saying? I know on Slab OG's TV, we always pretty much talk about the good, you know what I'm saying? We don't ever talk about the bad, but I mean, that's history for you. If this Slab OG's TV, and I'm going to name it Slab OG's TV, we got to talk about it, all aspects, you know what I'm saying, of the slab, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, I'm not going to sit here and kind of just basically tell every story, every carjacking that I done heard, but, you know, if you want to check out some of the stories, you can go check out Spencer interview, or you could go check out Alvin interview, you know what I'm saying, where they kind of break down a little bit more in detail about the stories. But, I mean, a lot of the stories that y'all hear kind of is true, you know what I'm saying? I even heard a story that back in the day, somebody from Rosewood got into it with somebody else, and over some wheels or something that they had took, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, like the car wash is like the main spot in Rosewood, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of like almost like a game to see who could take the most wheels or take the most cars, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you had niggas chilling at the car wash, and all of a sudden you see a Slab rolling by, and all you see is like Alvin or something with his hand out the roof with a steering wheel, you know what I'm saying, driving with some grip plies. And everybody like, oop, that's one, you know what I'm saying? And you see David Glenn come, and he's, oop, that's two, you know what I'm saying? Now, I will say, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot of legendary people that have ended up with their cars stolen in Rosewood, and they had to come get it. I know Mike D kind of told me a story that I forgot who car it was. I don't know if it was Blunt Bourbon or one of Pat cars. It was somebody car from the screwed up clique that got carjacked, basically, you know, got his car stolen, and it ended up in Rosewood. And I think like Mike D told me like maybe like a week later, they came through and they sprayed up they just spraying up the park in Rosewood, you know, all that. So it's a lot of people that, you know, had to meet them boys. It was even to the point to where on the south side, they kind of knew who was who and which drove which cars, you know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, you always hear about the braids and fades. I mean, I guess it was some guys that was in Rosewood that had, you know, afros. So you would see, like, I know 380D told me one time he went to a shop or something, and his homeboy car was missing or something like that. And he saw a dude in the car, like, going another way, you know what I'm saying? And it was a dude with an afro. And that's how you kind of knew, like, okay, and called his homeboys basically saying, like, oh, man, somebody stole your car, you know what I'm saying? And it was a dude with an afro riding down the street. And lo and behold, it ended up in Rosewood. So that's what kind of sparked, you know what I'm saying, the whole DJ Screw, the screwed up clique, you know what I'm saying, getting on the tapes, kind of rapping, you know what I'm saying. And the crazy part about it is, like, Alvin and them would tell me that they would steal the cars and be flipping through the tape deck, you know what I'm saying. They might hear people on there talking about shot up Rosewood, you know what I'm saying, shot up Homestead and all that, which made them kind of retaliate, really make them go take the cars even more, you know. Then everybody know you had Michael Watts, you know what I'm saying, from the Swisher House. The Swisher House was actually in Rosewood, in the back of Rosewood. You had a lot of those guys going over there to Watts' house and basically making tapes. I don't know if the Swisher House tapes started at Northside 10 or Northside 11 or Swisher 9-8, but I do know it was like 7 or 8 tapes before, you know, what everybody know as a Swisher House. I think wherever they started at, it was tapes before that, and not a lot of people got them. So you would have somebody get their car stolen, and you might have somebody ride around for the day from Rosewood, putting that tape in, you know what I'm saying? They listen to themselves and might ditch the car somewhere because they got what they needed up out of there. Police come, you know what I'm saying? They take the car back, you know, and then whoever car was, they might get back in the car, play the tape deck, and you hear all this other stuff on there. Because I don't really know how those tapes got to the south side, but there was tapes that nobody really heard of, really, unless you was in Rosewood or whoever got your car stolen, where they was retaliating back, and it was the guys that was actually taking it. It'd be a misconception that the Swisher House was, that we know they was rapping about taking the cars, when really in actuality, everybody that was in the Swisher House really didn't take it. It was the guys from Rosewood that went to the Swisher House and make those tapes. Now, it came out of Watts' mouth that he would never drop those tapes. Now, I think the only tape that people kind of remember that they'll tell me is one when, I don't know who it was on the tape rapping, but they was on there talking about Northside, 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 Rosewood, Rosewood, Rosewood. I think that's kind of like the only tape that everybody, you know, pretty much remember. But I doubt any of those tapes are still around. I know Watts say he still got all of them, but he'll never release them. That, you know, that came out of his mouth that he'll never release them, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's kind of is what it is right there. And a lot of people always say, you know, will have an idea how the carjacking started, you know what I'm saying? How did the north side, south side beef start? I really can't say who started it or why it started, you know what I'm saying, or why it even ended. You know, I just know that a lot of those guys did, like you had Yogi pass away, you had Alvin and David Glenn go to jail, get locked up. So it kind of died down. But the crazy part is it died down in Rosewood, but you still had other people in different neighborhoods that was still getting their cars took, you know what I'm saying? So that just proves that it really wasn't just all them solely, you know what I'm saying? And then you had guys come out of Rosewood that, like I say, they didn't steal. You had people like Foolie Wayne, you know what I'm saying, the Cadillac Boys, you know, LeBrie and all them. Then you look fast forward a little bit, you know what I'm saying, you had other people coming out of Rosewood putting slabs together. They had a red line, you know what I'm saying. You had Rosewood Josh later come on, you know what I'm saying, be one of the hardest drivers in the North, really in the whole city, period, you know what I'm saying, that swung with the best of them, you know what I'm saying. So I mean, Rosewood got this bad rap, you know, and it's a bad history around it, but, you know, it's still cars getting put out, you know, all over Homestead, all over the North, you know what I'm saying? So I would pretty much say that whole beef, that whole era, you know, is pretty much dead, you know what I'm saying? You still want to ride, you know, cautious of, you know, people want to take your car, haters, you know what I'm saying? People that don't want to see you win, but man, all that north side, south side stuff, you know, it's pretty much dead. But like I say, it is history. It is, you know what I'm saying, what was going on during that time, you know what I'm saying, a part of that neighborhood's history that they can't really shake, you know what I'm saying. So, man, I just kind of want to come in here and speak about the misconceptions, because I had a person comment on the interview and they was like, man, everybody keep talking about Rosewood. What is Rosewood? Where is that at? Why does people keep talking about it? So I just kind of want to come in here and talk about that. But yeah, man, and every Friday, every Monday, you know what I'm saying, y'all tune in. If I miss something, got something wrong, y'all let me know. Like I always say, if there's anybody that y'all want me to interview, or somebody from y'all want me to do on Slab History 101, y'all let me know. You know what I'm saying? I try to do my best to do my research, you know what I'm saying? Get in touch with them, kind of get their story. If it's a person you want me to do, a shop, or a neighborhood, a line, I mean, y'all let me know. I do my best to get my info right, you know what I'm saying? And if not, like I say, y'all hit me up. Let me know who y'all want to be interviewed too. Yeah, man. This Lil WB, Slab OGs TV. We out.